Hey guys, for those of you listening to us on OTB Sports Radio, apologies for the interruption of this magnificent panel on the glory days of Meath football. Soon may they return, is the opinion of this one fair presenter. But it is Thursday and it is time to speak live to John Giles. Yeah, I guess there are two measures of a good side and an impactful side. One of them is that, I guess, like just there, they get their own pop single that gets released and charts. The second would be somewhat further down the line and also pretty deserved as well, that they get recognised by the city that they represented for so long. Yesterday, Leeds City Council represented and recognised the achievements of the Don Revie team that he led Leeds United between 67 and 74. The entire team were granted the freedom of the city of Leeds. And one free man of Leeds joins us on the line right now. It is John Giles. John, first of all, congratulations.
Thanks, Richie.
I'd imagine that was a pretty special evening.
It was great. I was about 10 or 12 of the lads that I played with over the years were there. And I must say they did it very, very well in Leeds, Richie. It was very good.
Yeah.
And a few drinks afterwards, of course.
Good, of course. Sure, you have to do with these things. What struck me from looking, I was looking actually on the Leeds website itself, is the group picture of everybody. It's great to see so many of you still in that picture and so many of you looking well.
Yeah. One or two of the lads haven't been great. Peter hasn't been great, but he was there yesterday. You know, he hasn't had a good time recently. But most of the other lads are in good nick. Richie, you know? Yeah,
and a pretty special moment as well for an entire team. It's the first time in the city of Leeds that they've recognised a group as being given the freedom of the city, which is huge.
Which was amazing. I normally, as we know, you got one person per year, or every few years having the freedom of the city. So it shows you what they think of the success of Don Revie at that particular time, because all the councillors were saying when they were giving their speech how it helped Leeds as a city and put them on the map in a very, very big way. And I think that's what they were recognising in the city of Leeds itself as well.
It is one of those things, especially from an Irish perspective. I guess Irish interpretation of UK geography is a little bit suspect because we don't necessarily learn about it a hell of a lot in school. But Leeds is very definitely one of those cities that when you mention, the first thing that comes to mind is football. And you have to recognise the impact that you yourself had in that.
Well, you did. I didn't think about it at the time, Richie, to be honest. You're just doing your job and enjoying it and playing with the lads. As you know, there was no freedom of contract at that time. I was at Leeds for 12 years. Didn't want to move from it anyway. I was playing with great players and we were having a fair amount of success and we were a good group of lads. And when we get together, it's as if we've never been apart. So that was enjoyable. Obviously, from my point of view, I never ever thought about getting the freedom of Leeds at all. I don't think any of the lads did. It was just that we were doing our job, and it so happened that it did put Leeds on the map. As you say, you know, when you hear about a team abroad, they're just coming into the game and winning trophies. You say, no, that's a good team. That's where they come from, and it was the same with Leeds. So I think that's what they were saying yesterday. They appreciated the fact that the team did well, and most of them were supporters, that were there, genuine supporters who were councillors and that. But they did definitely say, and it got over in a big way, that the success of the Leeds United football team certainly helped to put them on the map.
Yeah, it's a brilliant thing. Come here to me. Do you know what kind of benefits you get in kind for this? Do you get to graze sheep on common land out in Leeds? Do you get anything like that? Do you get to avoid parking tickets, that kind of stuff?
Maybe down on the practice area, down on the practice grounds, Richie. Actually, they didn't say anything about anything like that. It's not like Dublin where you can bring the sheep into town. So I just don't know, Richie, but I would doubt it anyway.
Look into it, John. These things are going to be handy at some stage.
Yes, definitely, yeah. especially with a lot of sheep I have, Richard, it'll definitely come in handy.
I had no idea you were a farmer, John. We'll probably move away from that pretty quickly.
Giles.
It's my depth of farming knowledge probably stops there. Listen, we'll move on from a freedom of a city, if you'll pardon the segue, to Manchester City, who got back to winning ways during the week with that 4-1 victory at Burnley, spurred on by a couple of great goals by Gabriel Jesus, but it was the performance of Rodri that stuck out for you.
Yeah, I thought he was terrific. Well, I thought City played really well, because we know going to Burnley can be a difficult situation, Richie, but they played really well. They played Burnley off the park. Jesus was good, took his goals great. What was my man's name?
Rodri. Yeah, in midfield.
Yeah, very good. Now, I saw him early on the season. I thought, no, this guy, a bit like the lad Rubino at Liverpool. I thought he was poor when he started last year, but has really grown into the role in the midfield position. And this lad has done the same. I thought he was outstanding the other day. Scored a good goal, but apart from that, he was linking it up brilliantly in a way that I haven't seen him do it before. So that's a plus for Manchester City. There's no doubt about that. Yeah,
it was a performance that they needed. I know you mentioned that Burnley can be a pretty sticky wicket to go and play on, but it's the fact that they had upped their game from the Shakhtar draw, that they'd upped their game from the draw at the weekend, that they actually look like a team that could challenge and should be challenging for the league, which we presume, I know they're 11 points adrift, but which we presume they still will between now and May.
Yeah, it shows you attitude, you see, Richie. You know, like they're the same players, but because you got a poor performance, then they pick it up. Now, that's like last season, they picked it up from the start of the season and did what they did against Burnley. So it's there if the attitude is right. And I think obviously the attitude hasn't been right in relation to where they've been in previous seasons. But again, getting a bad defeat at the weekend, there's a lot of attention on them. Are Burnley going to do them? They picked it up and they were at their best. I think they were at their best the other night. Yeah. They were hounding the Burnley players down, not giving them any room. And that's what they haven't been doing. You know, you don't lose your ability. You lose the effort that has to go into every game. So I think from Guardiola's point of view, I'd say he was glad to get that over, and the manner in which they played particularly.
Last week on the show you were particularly critical of Kevin De Bruyne. You went so far as to say that City should probably look at the option of maybe moving him on. He got a fantastic goal against Newcastle on Saturday in that 2-2 draw. By all accounts he played well, and again was influential against Burnley on Tuesday. Has he changed your opinion at all, John?
No, I don't. I didn't think he played well against Newcastle, Richie, to be honest. I think he scored a spectacular goal. It was a brilliant goal. That's what he can do, but I didn't think he played well. I thought he played better the other night, and he's a brilliant player. It's just his attitude, Richie, and it's been going on for a long time. It wasn't just in recent times that I've been critical of him. When he's at his best and getting on with the job, like I think 2 years ago he was the best midfield player in the Premiership. He got an injury last year. I know he didn't play so well, but he hasn't come back from that. He looks a bit temperamental. You know, he's getting on to his colleagues. He's not getting back when he should be getting back. All the things he was doing before. He did play well the other night. There's no doubt about that. But maybe with this other lad being in form, it'll help him. You know,
yeah, it's one of those.
Middle of the field.
It's one of those rising tides raise all boats kind of things. If you've got somebody like Rodri who's playing well alongside you, who's actually managing to pick up some of the slack,
yes,
then
well, that's a big help. That's definitely big. Actually, he can do. I think he's capable of doing the main job in midfield.
Yeah,
and then if Sabrina does get back to his best, and obviously it's a different story altogether. And you say Jesus scored two brilliant goals the other night. You missed a couple at Newcastle, but again, it's in them. Richard, there's no doubt, but you have to do it week in and week out. And I think the way they play and when the opposition have the ball, it's hard work week in and week out. And I think they just slacked off a little bit. Yeah. Once they get back to what they can do, like Burnley, they really did do a big job on Burnley.
11 points the gap between City and Liverpool now. It's probably a moot point to ask, can City overhaul it, but can they, from your point of view, keep themselves in contention between now and April, May?
Well, it appears at the moment as if it's too late. I doubt if they can do it, to be honest, because I can't see Liverpool losing a lot of matches the way they're playing. You know, their attitude week in and week out since the start of the season has been brilliant, so I can't see them slipping up. that many times to allow City to come in. The City might go on a run of their own. I mean, if they pick up the season, actually, they might be worth a bet in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, because they might say, well, that's the league, it's too far gone. But now we'll really concentrate on the Champions League. I think they're capable of doing that. But Liverpool have a sticky programme coming up. But that's all one match at a time. I mean, last night could have been a sticky match for them. He rested a lot of players, and I think he's got the confidence to do that. He has confidence in the players that have coming in. Now, if they can win like they did last night with some of the main players out, it's a great sign for future success for Liverpool, because these guys can go and win matches for him and rest some of his best players.
We'll get on to Liverpool shortly, because I know we had an eye on their 5-2 victory over Everton last night as well. But City have a pretty sticky-looking period coming up. Not just the Cups is one thing, we'll set that aside. I mean, Oxford in the FA Cup and Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League is one thing. But the Manchester Derby's coming up this Saturday. After that, it's away to Arsenal. And after that, again, they've got Leicester, who've been in superb form. Coming to the Etihad. Yeah. It's a pretty rough December that City have.
Richie, that's on paper. If you look at the matches that they slipped up on this year, one was Norwich, for example. Now, if you were doing the pools or your forecast in the future, you'd have them down for a definite win. You'd have them down for a win at Newcastle. And where was the other place they got beaten? Some other team beat them. But they weren't one of the top teams.
They got beaten at home to Wolves, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you look at those matches, on paper, you'd never say they beat Norwich. They beat Wolves at home. And again, what was the other one?
They lost,
Newcastle.
obviously, they lost 3-1 away to Liverpool as the glaring one as well.
Well, that would be, there's a good chance, I'm only making the prediction situation, if they were going to Liverpool, that's one of the matches that you would expect, that Liverpool could beat them. But the other ones where they deduct was 7 points, which was against teams there that we just mentioned, Newcastle, Norwich. You'd expect them on paper to do that. So I've never, like when I played even, I never looked at the fixture list, Richie, because you just can't tell. I've always said to people, if you put down 6 results for Manchester City on paper now, or 8 results, I guarantee at the end of it, you'd be surprised at least 2 of them.
Before we hit ads, Tuesday as well, obviously, with that City game, brought about your own return to telly. How did you find getting back to being on camera?
Yeah, it was. Well, it's 3 years since I was on. Yeah. Actually, I was a bit nervous before the programme.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous. And I think it worked out okay. From what I can hear, the people who were doing it were satisfied. They got a good response, which was good. But it was, like I say, it's 3.5 years since I was doing it. And definitely a little bit nervous.
She had 2 lads alongside you who kind of knew what they were doing as well.
And
right?
once I got going, I was okay.
Yeah. Settled into an old pair of shoes.
Just the lead up to it, I thought, I haven't done this for a while. I hope I'll still be able to do it. Now, once we got going, it was okay.
Did Ivan Yates do his stuff, as you might say?
Yeah, he did. I thought he did well, Ivan. He was saying before the hand, like, I'm not going to interfere to you, but I'm going to let you get on. And he did. I thought he did it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Very good. We'll take a quick break, John. We'll be back with more after this.
'Tis the season for giving, and Carry Out Off Licence have you covered for that special someone. With our wide range of specialised gins and whiskies and huge selection of quality wines, you really can't go wrong this Christmas. Carry Out Off Licence is your one-stop shop for all your gifting needs. See you in store today and visit our website, carryout.ie. Carry Out Off Licence. Simply better wines, beers and spirits. Simply better value. Enjoy alcohol responsibly. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Yeah, welcome back. It's Richie McCormack here, and I'm joined on the line as ever of a Thursday by the great John Giles. John, we'll turn to that Merseyside derby last night. Marco Silva's in a kind of unwinnable situation here. I don't think anybody would have expected Everton to go and get 3 points. I think the point was probably the best they could have hoped for yesterday. It looks like, as we speak, that he is going to be heading out of the Everton job. The players having to stay back late after training. It appears they're going to be briefed by Farhad Moshiri. But from a Liverpool point of view, there was a word went around the office last night, and I think it was the first time I'd heard it in relation to this Liverpool season, and that was unbeatable. You're kind of looking at this team now, and it, like as you mentioned there at Manchester City, it's all about attitude. If they manage to keep the attitudes that they have at the moment, Liverpool, they are going to be a very hard team to beat in anywhere.
Yeah, I can't see anybody catching them in the league, Richie, at all. I mean, they have the hunger and attitude of a team that actually hasn't won it for a long time, you know. And they seem to be determined and picked it up. They've got good players. They've got a big squad. You know, I think they played really, really well. They've been brilliant since the start of the season. The way they're playing, they're not going to let it go, Richie.
Yeah.
You know, and again, see, that's new to them. In Manchester City's place, they've won it for the last 2 years, and you know, they won the last 5 trophies apparently in the domestic leagues and cups. And I think when you do that, it is hard to maintain it unless you're introducing new players. You know, if you go back to the old times with Liverpool, with Kenny Dalglish and Hansen and Graham Sinessa, nearly every year when they were winning regularly, they'd add 2 players to it. You know, City haven't done that. They brought
Rodri
during the close season. But if you look at the transfer situation over the last 2 years, they haven't changed the team much. You know, I think they should have bought, like, say, 2 or 3 players this season or every season. And like Liverpool still have that hunger. You know, they haven't won the league for a long time. They have the hunger to do it. And City haven't quite got that hunger, in my opinion, this year. Mainly, I think, because, well, they won it last year and they won it the year before and they won domestic trophies. So Liverpool, I don't think, will lose it with a lack of attitude.
Hunger and attitude are 2 words that I guess would have been floating around last night. We saw the team sheets come in for that Merseyside derby because Jurgen Klopp took the opportunity to make 5 changes, and a lot of people gulped and thought, Jesus, this is asking for trouble when you're bringing in Sheridan Shaqiri, who hasn't started a game since January, Divock Origi, who's been on occasion in sparkling form, let's be honest. He's pulled it out in the big matches, and they really brought it home last night that the attitude of this Liverpool squad is absolutely in tune.
Yeah, I can't see them. I can't see them dipping in form like that, Richie. They're there. You know, they want it. They haven't won it for a long time, and he has the squad. And to be fair to Klopp, he has the courage to put them in last night. I mean, the local derby is not usually the walkover that it was for them last night, but he put the lads in, and he has to do it. You have to do it now in this day and age, Richie, with the amount of matches that they're involved in. You know, they've got this big match away. They've got the cup coming, the FA Cup coming up. They've got the Champions League coming up. You definitely need a big squad, but he's having the courage to put it in. It's a huge temptation, I'm sure, for a manager in his position when you're playing in a local derby. I've got to play my full team tonight. And to be fair to him, he's done it. You know, he's put the lads in. He's given them a chance. And of course, when they come in, you see they're hungry to do well.
And we have to countenance the fact as well that this is a team that was shorn of Fabinho through injury, was shorn of Alisson through suspension. So they're already going to be missing 2 big players, and then he decides to switch it up even further. Yeah.
Well, I think that the attitude that Klopp would have, and I think it's the right attitude, if they're in the squad, then they have to perform, able to perform at the highest level. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's nobody goes, will I put them in, will I not put them in? I mean, they're good players, Richie, and that's fair play to Klopp. He's gathered. The main thing for the manager is to gather a good squad of players. I mean, he hasn't just they're not making up numbers, these lads. You know, they're really, really good players, and they're coming into a successful team, and they're doing their business. And it's very good management, and it's very good from Liverpool. Yeah,
it's testament that when you have these guys who are potentially on the fringes or on the bench more often than not.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the old days of my time, you played the top 11 every week.
Yeah.
Never rested any players. That's the way it was. I mean, now with the bigger squads, which is the right way if you can afford to have the big squads. And Liverpool can, and he's done it, and he's got the squad together, and he's put them in.
Jose Mourinho suffered the first defeat as Manchester United. This is the habit we slip into now with Jose. As Tottenham manager last night, away to Manchester United, a 2-1 defeat. Jose blamed a slow start, I guess, to both halves for his side's defeat last night. They looked very flat, to my eye, John, did Spurs.
Yeah, I didn't see that much of it, Richie, but I've heard his quotes, and I heard Dele Alli's quotes, which was unbelievable. You know, I just read it out there. We weren't hungry enough, and we were slow to start to every second ball, losing 50-50, said the England man. Maybe it was a bit of arrogance and overconfidence. Well, I don't know what it could be overconfident about. I mean, this is Dele Alli talking, not Mourinho.
Yeah.
Like, he's won 3 matches since he got there, and they're not against the best opposition either. Now, they've done well to do it, but they weren't about the best opposition. So to think that you could be arrogant and overconfident at Old Trafford, it was just a crazy statement. And if that was the case, it's not good.
Yeah.
I fancied Spurs going into the match, to be quite honest.
I think a lot of people did, yeah.
But they were terrible, like for Manchester United to do what they did. Now, I didn't see the whole match, but I've had reports on it as well, that Spurs didn't play well at all. The Man U were the better team. Now, that's after 3 matches only with Mourinho, so you wouldn't expect arrogance and being overconfident in a match going to Old Trafford. It's just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Before we go, John, yesterday as well marked the 60th birthday of the great Paul McGrath, a player I know didn't necessarily have a hell of a lot of interactions with, but a man who's left his own indelible mark on the world of Irish football. I believe we talked about punditry there with Eamon and with Liam just before the break. Paul also got to sit in one night with you as well a few years ago.
Yeah, well, first of all, he's a terrific lad.
Yeah.
He's a great lad. He's a humble lad. He's been one of our great players. I mean, how he did what he did was extraordinary, Richie. The standard that he played to, I think he was about 37, 38, when he was still playing at the top, and had suffered with bad knees, didn't train an awful lot, and as we know, he liked to drink as well. So he was a phenomenon. But I've met him on a few occasions. He's a great lad. He's one of the most modest people I ever met in my life. But yeah, we had him a few years ago. I think it was Eamon and I were on, and he came in with a friend of his just to have a look around, see somebody at RTE, and I said, "Why don't you come on with us tonight, Paul?" And he's a very shy lad, and he said, no, I don't know, I couldn't do that. I said, look, Eamon and I are there, Bill's there. I said, if you get stuck, you'll be out. He came on, he was brilliant. Brilliant. He's a very articulate lad and a very, very intelligent lad with a really, really good knowledge of the game. Really good knowledge of the game. And he's shy.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do it. But at the end of it, he went through it no bother. He was brilliant. He's a smashing lad, Paul.
He was almost a freak in some way. He just seemed like the coolest player on the pitch any time he was playing.
Yeah, well, he was, because he had, like all great players, they make it look easy, Richie.
Yeah.
It's never easy. You see a bad player playing, he's all over the place. Paul had pace, he had intelligence, the positional intelligence to do what he did. Actually, playing at the back was pretty much a doddle to him. He was that talented. Paul would have given you a game anywhere. Paul could have played in midfield and done a good job.
And Jack often did,
doubt
didn't he?
about it.
Jack often played him in midfield for Ireland.
Yeah, I don't know if he often played him there. I did see him playing there. All right, no problem. Obviously, playing at the back. I think when you've got ability and heading ability and tackling ability and quick like Paul was, playing at the back is a doddle for them, and they make it look a doddle. When you step forward to midfield, it's slightly different. It's a bit more difficult in that position. But Paul obviously was known as a centre half, but he could have played in any position and give you a turn, Richie. Terrific lad.
Fantastic
Terrific
man.
lad.
Yeah, I think that's the greatest testament to him is that in all of the tributes that we've heard to Paul on his 60th birthday week this week, equaling out how great a player he was is as many people saying what a great bloke he is too.
Yeah, he was modest, a really modest lad. To be honest, all the great players I've ever met have been modest lads. No, they don't get carried away with anything. They get on with the job, they want to improve. But he was a phenomenon in that, the length of time he played, Richie. I went to see him when he played at Derby. I think he just moved to Derby. He was man of the match week in and week out at Derby, and I think he was 35, 36, 37.
37, I think at that stage, yeah.
And supposedly had bad knees. What would he have been like if his knees weren't bad, Richie?
Scary to think how good he would have been.
He was great. Any time I've met him, he's been brilliant. Lovely lad.
John, listen, we'll let you get back and tend to those sheep.
Okay, Richie. I'll sleep like a log, yeah.
Good man. Well, congratulations again on the freedom of Leeds, and pass it on to the rest of the team as well. Okay.